And we are live from Atlanta in the butt emoji state with some NFC conference action as the 3-6-1 Vikings come into a hostile environment to face the 4-5 Falcons, who are looking to make it 3 in a row today. Opening drive, 3rd and 3, and with no Austin Hooper, it's Austin Traylor with the 9-yard catch to convert. 3 plays later, 3rd and 3 again, and it's the other tight end, Jeremy Novak, with a 4-yard catch across midfield. 2 plays later, and Matt Ryan is throwing again and has Mohamed Sanu on the crosser. He picks up the first down and has 25 yards down just outside the 20. Then on the next play, Ryan is throwing again, and this time it's Julio Jones with the catch to make it 1st and goal at the 1. And that leads to the next play where Ito Smith walks into the end zone from a yard out, and the Falcons march right down the field to take an early 7-0 lead. Ensuing drive, 3rd and 10, and Kirk Cousins looks to throw and has a wide open Irv Smith over the middle for 24 yards into Falcons territory. Then with 2nd and inches, Cousins throwing again, goes out to Kyle Rudolph, who drags defenders to a 10-yard first down gain. Next play, and what looks like a normal 5-yard gain turns into bad news for the Vikings as Dalvin Cook remains down with an injury. Cook would head to the locker room and would not return. And 2 plays later on 3rd and 2, Cousins with the play fake and fires out to Tommy Bohannon, who strolls right out of bounds for a 5-yard loss to bring up 4th down. Jake Elliott comes on, and his 37-yard field goal is up and good, and the Vikings answer back with a field goal to make it 7-3. 5th play of the ensuing drive, and the chains are moving as Ryan hits Mohamed Sanu for 10 yards on a first down just shy of midfield. Next play, and it's into Minnesota territory as Ryan hits Julio Jones on the crosser. He has the first down and tack on 15 more with a face mask penalty that sends Atlanta to the Vikings 25. And on the following play, the Atlanta offense continues to chug right along as Ito Smith picks up 11 and another first down. 3 plays later, and to start the second quarter, Ryan looking to throw, drifting back and to his left, starts to scramble but fires to Julio Jones, who makes the 3-yard catch to give Atlanta 1st and goal. But then on the next play, Ryan throwing again, and Everson Griffin in immediately to swarm Ryan for an 8-yard loss. Then on 3rd and goal from the 3, Ryan looking for the end zone, drifting to his left, and realizes he has a red carpet, and he's going to stroll uncontested into the end zone, and the 3-yard score extends the Atlanta lead to 14-3. Vikings looking to answer, but facing a 3rd and 14 where Cousins looks to throw. He stands in before loading up and throwing a bomb downfield where Isaiah Oliver knocks it away, and Devontae Casey dives to pick it off. He gets up and is going to return it just past the Atlanta 30, and already up by 11, the Falcons offense takes right back over. Falcons looking to punish, and on their first play, it's Ryan to Mohamed Sanu over the middle for a 12-yard gain and 1st down to start the drive. 2 plays later, Atlanta right at midfield, and the give goes to Ito Smith, who has the first down, but Harrison Smith levels and ball comes out, but Austin Traylor scoops it up, and disaster averted as Atlanta has another 1st and 10. Next play, and Traylor goes from scooping up the ball to catching it as he breaks a tackle and has a 20-yard gain and another new set of downs. Next play again, Ryan with the play fake and looking to throw and fires a dangerous pass, but Austin Traylor's the man of the hour and has a 15-yard catch to make it 1st and goal. And that leads to Ryan throwing again and finding a hole in the Vikings defense as he connects with Calvin Ridley for a 6-yard touchdown, and the Falcons taking it to Minnesota here now with a 21-3 lead. Atlanta gets it right back, and Ryan continues to deal as he again hits Calvin Ridley, who's up the sideline for a 30-yard gain into Viking territory. Then on 3rd and 4 from the 39, Ryan throwing again and fires down the seam, but Chris Boyd snatches it out of the sky for an interception to halt the Falcons' drive and maybe give the Vikings some momentum to start chipping away at this 18-point deficit. And out of the 2-minute warning, the Vikings are on the move as Cousins hits Irv Smith Jr., who stumbles his way to a 19-yard gain. 2 plays later, and Cousins goes short to Leo Mickens, who has the first down and is into Atlanta territory with another 19-yard gain. Then on the following play, Cousins throwing, stands in and goes to Ryan Grant over the middle. He breaks a tackle and picks up 15 to move the chains again. And after a Vikings timeout, Cousins throwing and again stands tall in the pocket before laying one right on the money to Kyle Rudolph, who gets out of bounds and makes it 1st and goal. 3rd and goal now, and Cousins is going to drift back, stand in, and eventually finds Adam Thielen in the middle of the field and the middle of the end zone for a 4-yard score, and the Vikings make it 21-10 as we head into the break. Minnesota gets it to start the second half, and with a chance to get right back into the game, Maurice Ramsey says, "Not on my watch," as the rookie screams in for his 5th sack of the year, and the loss of 8 yards leads to an immediate Vikings punt. So Falcons turn, and on their second play, it's Ryan connecting with Devin Gray for 14 yards on a 1st down. 3 plays later, 3rd and 8, and Ryan throwing again, standing in, drifting back, and finds Devin Gray again right to midfield and for just enough to convert. Falcons again facing third down, where Ryan is going to go over the middle to Austin Traylor, who can't get forward past the marker. Atlanta thinks about going for it, but sends out Roland Ford for a career-long 58-yard field goal that's right down the middle, and the Falcons extend their lead to 24-10. Fourth quarter now, same score, and the Falcons have the ball, where Ryan fakes the give and fires to Calvin Ridley over the middle for 23 yards and a first down. After another first down takes Atlanta across midfield, Ryan looks to throw again and goes to Calvin Ridley on the crosser, who puts a move on Xavier Rhodes, picks up the first down, and is brutally murdered by Harrison Smith. Next play, and the chains move again as the exterminator Jordan Buggs squashes 12 yards for another first down. Then with 6 minutes to go, third down, and Ryan looking to throw, drifts back and fires to Calvin Ridley, who can't hang on to the catch, bringing up fourth down. Roland Ford comes on and makes it 2 for 2 on the day as he hits the 33-yarder and pushes the Atlanta lead to 27-10. Vikings need points quick, and on 3rd and 5, they decide to run a draw to Leo Mickens to get stuffed for a loss of 1. So make it 4th and 6, where Cousins looks to throw, fires downfield, but Isaiah Oliver knocks it away incomplete. And just when you thought things were all wrapped up, Brian Hill takes the toss off the right side, has the first down, but the Harrison Smith hit stick forces the fumble. Smith then picks it up, and he's going to return it 75 yards up the sideline into the house, and suddenly it's a 27-17 game, and Minnesota still has 3 timeouts. But after a failed onside and out of the 2-minute warning, it's Ito Smith right up the middle for 14 yards and a huge Atlanta first down. And on 3rd and 6, with all Minnesota timeouts exhausted, Ito Smith has a huge hole, picks up the first down, and survives one last Harrison Smith hit stick and puts an end to this one with the 12-yard carry. And after a 2-5 start, all of a sudden the Falcons are back at 500 with 3 consecutive wins, and with 6 games to go, have plenty of time to put themselves in a position to make the playoffs. The Atlanta defense holds Minnesota to only 212 yards and 2 of 11 on third downs to pick up a much-needed win, and will need to carry that same energy into next week as they host the 8-2 Bears. All right, so here we are back at 500 as we pull out a nice win over the Vikings. It gets a little sketchy at the end there, but we had pretty firm control of the game throughout. And now after 10 games, we're right back where we started with 6 games to go. But getting into the team side of things, Tack McKinley had 5 tackles and 3 tackles for loss against the Vikings, which has triggered a breakout scenario. So heading into the Bears game, I need to either hold the Bears to less than 75 yards rushing and 1 rushing TD, or get McKinley 2 interceptions, forced fumbles, tackles for loss, or sacks. Also during the Vikings game, Donovan Culver finally reached his snaps limit to reveal his hidden dev trait, which has turned out to be star. This was pretty much expected and puts him in a position to become a superstar moving forward. Getting into scouting, we have 2 players added to the draft board this week, starting with John Penn, a wide receiver out of Middle Tennessee State, who is a 2nd-round projection but a 3rd-round true talent. Then below him is cornerback Amari Blaylock out of Oklahoma State, who is the opposite, as he is a 3rd-round projection but a 2nd-round true talent. Week 11 brought a boatload of negotiations, so I'll try to run through these pretty quickly, but the first was with Connor Blumberg, who I signed to a 3-year deal. As I've said many times before, kickers and punters don't really matter, so this is a pretty meaningless re-signing. Next up was Brian Hill, who I withdrew negotiations with, and while he's young and did upgrade to a star dev last season, he was asking for around $3 million a year, and for a 3rd-string running back, that really wasn't worth it to me. Following him was Roland Ford, who, like Connor Blumberg, we signed to a 3-year deal, and despite only having 59 for kick accuracy, he's been perfect on the year and shows no signs of missing anytime soon. Then moving to the second half of negotiations, it starts with center Ryan Khalil, who will be let go following the season. This was always part of the plan with him, and I'll definitely be looking to upgrade this position in the offseason. Next up is linebacker Cam Terry, who gets signed to a 1-year contract worth $500K, and this is one of those no-risk signings where he's extremely cheap and I can cut him at any time if I do find someone better to take his spot. And then wrapping up the negotiations is tight end Jeremy Novak, who wanted $1.28 million and a $200K bonus, but instead gets his walking papers, as we didn't even elect to negotiate with him, and will be looking for a new 3rd tight end this offseason. Then the last thing on the team side of things is player upgrades, where we start with DeMonte Casey, who picked off a pass this week and goes up to a 79 overall with +1 upgrades to his awareness, man coverage, press, pursuit, tackle, and zone coverage. Following him is rookie Maurice Ramsey, who's having a nice rookie season and reaches a 69 overall overall with a +3 upgrade to his block shedding and a +1 bump to his play rec. Next up is another linebacker in Elijah Lee, who receives a +2 increase to his awareness along with +1 upgrades to his acceleration, man coverage, and speed. And then lastly is kicker Roland Ford, who reaches a 67 overall at the hands of a +2 upgrade to his awareness rating. It's finally time to go around the league, where week 11 kicked off with the Ravens winning 29-23 in overtime. Chiefs score 24th quarter points to beat the Chargers 23-20. Colts and Cardinals both win in overtime over the Steelers and Jets. Raiders beat the Patriots, Saints beat the Panthers, and the Packers beat the Bucks. Bills win by 7, Bengals win by 5, as do the Texans over the Broncos. Seahawks hammer the Giants, Bears handle the Lions, and the 0-9 Dolphins upset the 8-1 49ers. Then on Sunday night, the Browns win 42-28 against the Eagles, and on Monday night, the Redskins win a 44-38 overtime thriller against the Cowboys. Looking at the standings, the Jets lose but still have firm control of the AFC East. Bengals win again and are now 10-0 with a 4-game lead over the Ravens and Browns. The Titans and Texans are both 6-4 and hold a 1-game lead over the Jaguars and a 2-game lead over the Colts. Then out west, the Chiefs rally back to beat the Chargers and take a firm hold of the division lead. On the NFC side, the Redskins' overtime win against the Cowboys has them tied for first place at 6-4. Bears are 8-2 in first place, while the 6-3-1 Packers are in second. Bucks lose, so we pulled it within 2 games of first place at 5-5. Then in the West, the 49ers lose to the winless Dolphins, but still have a 2-game lead over the Seahawks for the division lead. The AFC Offensive Player of the Week comes from the Bengals and running back Joe Mixon. The former Oklahoma standout had 104 yards rushing and a touchdown on 20 carries, while also adding 3 catches for 134 yards and 2 more scores, as the Bengals stayed undefeated by beating the Titans 40-35 in Tennessee. On the NFC side, the Offensive Player of the Week is fellow running back Alvin Kamara of the Saints. Kamara averaged 12.5 yards per carry on his way to 138 yards rushing and 1 score on the ground. Kamara also threw in a 64-yard touchdown on his only reception to help the Saints win 35-28 over Carolina. Defensively, the Week 11 award for the AFC goes to Rashad Jones of the Dolphins. The 11th-year safety wins the award after a 9-tackle, 1-interception performance that helped his winless Dolphins pull off the upset of the year as they beat the previously 8-1 49ers on the road. Then for the second week in a row, we provide the NFC Defensive Player of the Week in Harrison Smith of the Vikings. Smith notched 12 tackles, a pass deflection, forced 2 fumbles, and picked one up, returning it for a touchdown as the Vikings lost 27-17 to our Falcons. The passing leaders this week are the same as last, with Matt Ryan leading the way in yards with 2,898, and then Baker Mayfield's 28 touchdowns and 125.5 passer rating continuing to put him at the top of both categories. Meanwhile, for the rushing leaders, Todd Gurley continues to lead the way in rushing yards now with 1,102, as well as yards per carry with his 6.5 average, and then Texans running back Lamar Miller now pulls to within a tie with Saquon Barkley with 10 rushing touchdowns and appears with the leaders this week. Bears receiver Taylor Gabriel adds 4 catches to his league-leading total and continues to be at the top there. Julio Jones is 73 yards shy of his 7th straight 1,000-yard season as he leads the league in receiving yards, and then Bears tight end Trey Burton takes over the touchdown catch lead now with 10 on the year. Then wrapping up with the defensive leaders, Deion Jones and his 110 tackles are good for a league lead. Von Miller's pace has slowed down drastically, but he remains the leader in sacks with 13.5. Then continuing to be tied at the top of the interception leaders with 4 is the Saints' Marshawn Lattimore. Week 12 starts with Thanksgiving Thursday, where the Colts are playing at the Lions, and then 8 hours later, the Jaguars face off against the Vikings as the Cowboys are inexplicably playing on Sunday. Jets face the Bills, Chargers head to Tampa Bay, and Miami at New England. Titans at Steelers, Chiefs head to Carolina, and the Redskins take on the Giants. Eagles head to Arizona, 49ers host the Saints, and Seahawks at Rams. We host the 8-2 Bears, while the Broncos host the 2-8 Raiders. Then on Sunday night, the 6-4 Ravens head to Cincinnati, aiming to knock off the undefeated Bengals. And on Monday night, it's the 6-3-1 Packers taking on the 6-4 Texans in Houston. But that's going to do it for Week 11, as we are able to get back to 500 with a win. And at this point last season, I was 6-4, so only a game worse, but in much different fashion. But after a 2-5 start, it's good to